With more on Trump's musings about Gaza and the Middle East, we're now joined by retired Major General Denis Thomson. Thank you, Denis, so much for joining us. You've heard what President Donald Trump has said about Gaza. What are your thoughts?
Well, Mr. Trump is certainly known for throwing mud at the wall to see what's going to stick. And this proposition or proposal seems to be one of those moments. However, if we look at it in its component parts, taking over the Gaza Strip, he perhaps was looking at two of the examples that already exist. There are foreign security personnel that are manning the crossing of the Netzarim corridor, which is the corridor that splits the Gaza Strip in half, built by the Israeli Defense Forces, and that are checking the Palestinians who are moving out of the south to the north to see if their houses, what state their property is in, say, Gaza City or the Jabalia refugee camp. And then the second group of foreign security personnel as an EU or a European Union mission with the Palestinian Authority at the Rafah crossing. So it's not unheard of. However, the scale of this effort would be huge, and it would involve U.S. troops. And I don't think he has thought that through entirely because, of course, Hamas is still present. That's problem number one. Number two, relocating, as he put it, but as everyone else has called it, the forced displacement of the Palestinians from the Gaza Strip. Under what legal authority would that happen, and what mechanism would you use? Would you physically put people on buses or trucks and truck them out of the country? I don't see that happening either. And then finally, building the Riviera on the Mediterranean, the Riviera of the Middle East is it's a fantasy. It's certainly beautiful, all the way from, say, the Nile Delta to Tel Aviv. That stretch of the Mediterranean is absolutely gorgeous, but it's just not a feasible plan.
So do you think that all of this is just, as you said, he's just throwing to see what sticks? Do you think that it's actually a possibility? I mean, we've heard response from all over the world, including the Irish Prime Minister, who said, and I'm a little bit paraphrasing, that he judges the U.S. based on what they do, not on what they say.
No, there's certainly an element of truth to that. You get to judge everybody on their actions rather than their words. So the Irish Prime Minister is clearly making some sense there. This case, because of its complexity, it cannot be solved in the sort of comic book style that Mr. Trump likes to use. I think it's a bit of a sop to Mr. Netanyahu in the fact that he was visiting, that he would throw this out there. And it's obviously a deliberate effort to sideline the two-state solution. And the two-state solution is, practically speaking, the only thing that's going to work in the ongoing conflict between the Palestinians and the Israelis. And I think that's been made clear to everybody, certainly by the Arab states in the region. So, I think we'll see where this goes, but nothing really surprises us when it comes to Mr. Trump.
So do you think this was said in order to appease Israel's Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, and is this something Israel would want?
I think it's absolute folly to try and crawl inside the head of Mr. Trump and determine, what he's serious about and what he isn't serious about. So I really don't know what he's thinking for real, but he's certainly acting like a businessman.
Thank you so much. Well said. We appreciate your time and for your take. And this is retired Major General Denis Thomson. Thank you, Denis.